Hello and welcome to the Oracle Report for the month of February 2026. So happy you're tuning in. Um, if this is your first time, just let you know a little bit about what this is. So, at the beginning of every month or towards the end of every month, I come on here and share some of the different wisdoms and themes that have been coming up that apply to the collective. And the idea here is to support you, to help you navigate this month ahead in a way that is most aligned, most true for you, so that we can all weave together in a way where we're aligning to our light, aligning to love, and creating that together. So most of these messages are gathered from channeling, but they also come through different dream messages, sometimes themes in readings that are coming up, and sometimes different information from astrology. Um, they're collective wisdoms, so they'll all apply to us, but in unique ways. So, one theme might be really alive in your life, and then another one not so much. And one might apply quite literally, and another one could apply like just really creatively or even in a funny way. Like sometimes these messages, because these messages, any spirit messages that we receive, are really extra dimensional. They're not just linear, third dimension. They have aspects of many other dimensions. So I always like to explain it kind of like a disco ball, and all the little mirrors on there each represent another dimension of one ball of wisdom or one ball of energy or message that is coming forward for us. So open your mind, open your heart, allow it to kind of settle and see what fits for you, and feel free to leave the rest. I also like to suggest, because much of the wisdoms that come up can be timeless. And if you feel called, you can go back and listen to past Oracle reports. I would suggest using your intuition, trying to find which one is kind of buzzing or standing out to you, like it might have something for you right now. But that can be fun too, if you have like a long drive or just some time where you can listen in. So I start all of these off by pulling a card for the collective. And then I go into some of the different themes, messages, and wisdoms that have been brought forth to share. Um, so today I'm going to be pulling from the Priestess Oracle deck. It's a new deck gifted by a lovely friend. Um, okay, so yeah, let's pull a card and see what comes forward to start for February. So tuning in for February, or highest message for the collective. Oh, sweet. So Sophia. Oh, it's a little blurry there, but I also post these with a picture of the card and then the description as well in Sacred Lights, and sometimes as well on my Instagram, or send it through my email. But if you're not in any of those channels and you are wanting the picture and the description, just reach out and I'll get it to you. Um, you should be able to contact me through YouTube, but my email would be Angela at soulrose, SOLROSE.love. Okay, let's just get this description here. Okay, so I'll read just a bit of it and then you can read the rest later on your own if you'd like to. So just on the card here, it says Sophia, Source Mother, Sacred Wisdom, Elevation. So beautiful. So just such beautiful imagery. A little glaring there, but beloved, you are in a sacred moment of remembrance of your most sacred truth, accessing higher states of consciousness now, and you are being guided by Sophia, the mother of mothers, pure feminine Christ light, source consciousness. You are currently being infused with new codes of divine feminine embodiment, illuminating your path as you elevate to unprecedented heights, unlocking higher wisdom and connecting you to the radiant light of celestial realms. Sophia is the highest light, the highest formless emanation of Creator. She is embodied within you, whispering the wisdom of the cosmos through your heart, reminding you to trust infinitely and to know everything there is to ever know. Sophia blesses you through her mirrored essence. Oh, I like that. I was just talking about the mirrored dimensions, and that is here. Right, because we are that. We are extra dimensional, even though our humanity is kind of like this dense form. And it's not one dimension. There's many dimensions of our expression in humanity, but on the surface, I think it can look like we're not as many dimensions as we actually are. Like we actually have access to much greater perspective and wisdom and light, and we are so much more than this physical body. Um, yeah, okay. So blesses you through your mirrored essence. As you welcome her pure white light with an intention, surrender to her nurturing embrace. Feel the warmth of unconditional love and absolute unity, igniting your spirit and empowering you to embody more of you, more of life. And I'll just read this one other sentence because it feels like it weaves into some of the messages. In this time of global ascension, you are called to embrace the cycles of your life. Where change is inevitable, with grace, Sophia asks you to rise as a beacon of her divine light, sharing your sacred gifts with the world while embodying the unity of all things. The grace templates she carries teach you that change or transformation can also be easeful. You simply need to elevate your frequency, expand your perception, and align with your heart's whispers. Yeah, that's a good paragraph. It really does link into some of the messages that came forward today. So, with that, let's move on to those. Okay. So, there is kind of like a major theme that's pretty much woven throughout all of the messages today. And that is about us in humanity being in kind of a transitional phase. And I know we've been in a transformational phase for a pretty long time, but this one in particular, it's like this certain window where we're kind of half in one place, half in another. And um, yeah, just trying to navigate being in the middle there. Or I don't even know if we're in the middle. I think we might be even a little further towards the freedom side of things rather than the past. So we're moving forward, but we're in this kind of transitional phase in particular. And one way that this shows up is really, well, at least where I am in the world, as we're going from like winter to spring. And we're moving into greater and greater light every day. Um, we're going from the dark, the quiet, the unconscious, and moving into, more and more expansion. And we're going from, uh, in Chinese astrology, as I'm sure many have heard, But if not, going from the year of the snake into the year of the horse, fire horse. And this symbolizes some interesting transitions and energetic shifts for the collective. So in February in particular, there's this call to shed, um, to kind of have like a reckoning of our past and our future as we're in this in between place. Um, so, yeah, let's get into some more details. One of the messages that was coming through in relationship to this was talking about enlightenment and how part of enlightenment is this gift and this learning that we have here as humans, where we get to learn how to be a creator, we get to learn how to be a co-creator. We get to step into our divine selves in a body, or we get to choose to do that, to play with it, to learn more about how to do that and what is our truest path with that. And with that divinity that we stoke and we search for, we go into the darkness, the unconsciousness, the dream space, and we know when the time is to emerge. You know, we're not valuing necessarily the unconscious or the dream space or the expansion and the action, one more than the other, but both very important. And instead, we're understanding right timing. So we know when to go into the dark, to call forth our light, and then when to emerge with that light. And that's some of the energetic of what's happening in February, is where we're starting to ease into greater light. Like, oh yeah, there's that fire within. Recording this actually on February 1st, and we're right around Imbolc, which, yeah, it symbolizes in part it's like that finding that inner fire, which is our divinity, which is our soul. And we find that really through being able to dive into the darkness, into the quiet, into the reflective unconscious spaces and navigate those for deep wisdom, for true remembering, which really is to say healing, which really is to say wholeness, bringing ourselves back, like bringing all the members back into ourselves. And we go through this like again and again and again, the spiraling of the wisdom of our evolution. So it's not like we do it one time and then it's done. It's these cycles keep moving, just like the card was mentioning with the wisdom of change and transformation. And Sophia is that, yeah, we go through these cycles. And how do we need to show up to them in the most aligned, true way? You know, like where are we? How are we being influenced and transformed? How are we transforming? How are we creating with these cycles? So that's part of what was coming up here in this like learning to find at this moment in particular. It's like a reignition of many things, but one in particular, a reignition of us as creators. So we go in, we find that light of our divinity, and then we're learning what do we do with it? And we're learning that going into that dark place, going into the unconsciousness, having time and reflective, quiet states, resting, nourishment, how important all of those are for the cycles, how important all of that is for creating with true divinity, like from our true God, goddess selves. How do we truly create with that spark that's within us? And it gets to be fun if we want it to be. It can be intense. It can be so many things. And we're the ones who are the creators, are the guides of it. And then we learn how we relate with it, how we create with it, how we move with those cycles, how we welcome them and appreciate them and work together. Um, I kept hearing the word like a playground, and Earth as a playground um, of enlightenment. So we can learn to be in our God selves on in physical matter. We can learn to create. And it's there was an emphasis here too. It's like creation isn't just about creating physical things, even though that's kind of where our heads might go. But creation is about our frequency. It's like our vibration. And actually, that is kind of that extra dimensional aspect of us, the mirrored disco ball extra dimensional self that we are. It communicates, it is pure energy. And we can decide, like what we want to embody from that and how we work with the waves and the dance of life to allow that inner light, to allow the vastness of who we truly are, the eternity of who we truly are, to come through in vibration and frequency and start to make ripples. And how much just accessing that ourselves creates in the world, even if we did nothing. And not to say that doing things, action isn't important. It certainly is. Um, but there's a bit of an emphasis because humanity has focused in the other direction, um, where we get a little focused on like goals and linear and like what is success? Is it all these material things? What is spirituality? Like it must be in the material. It must be in the ego. Like what is true power? All of these things come up for us as humans, and if our action is aligned to what is really true, then it's great. Then it works. But like at the bedrock of that, I find is our beingness, our access to that vibration, the frequency, the light that we are. And that's just something that's like it emanates. It's it's just there. And the more that we trust it to come through us and to affect change, the more that it does. Okay. Seeing if there's anything more with that. Maybe some more will come up. Um, okay, so along this thread of co-creation and winter and the dream space and the unconscious and reflection, um, there's a special energy that's available to us in February where we can start to dream up, create vision for the future. And we can all together start to create new pathways for humanity. Again, the emphasis, I mean, at least with the messages this month and the energetics of February and this February, are about creating from frequency and vibration within ourselves, accessing our light, finding our inner fire, and also the shedding. I'll talk a little bit more about that too. But first, we'll stay here on this track, even though I love jumping down rabbit holes. um, so, okay, we're being encouraged to dream up unity, dream up a positive future, ask ourselves what is really ours to create, and bring the focus this month not to physical things. If starting there helps you to access the frequency and vibration of what you're creating on earth, then that's fine. But don't let yourself like get stuck there. It is not dependent upon, some action. It's really about this inner process of remembering, which, my relationship with Sophia has taught me so much about that. Like that's where it's at. Less so than the actions in the world. Actions that we take, they can have all different things behind them, despite what seems to be on the surface. And they can even have positive effects with, not so positive intentions or vice versa. But again, the focus that the call is saying is focus on the vibration and the frequency. So what is mine to create, co-create. And when we're co-creating, we're working with our light, our divinity, our truest vibration. So we want to create from divinity and our God self, our goddess self, which, so I would see those like some of the, in my perspective, core vibrations of that really are truth and love. So how can we create from the truth and the love that we are in this moment, in this particular spiral of the cycle? What is mine to create? What am I going to start dreaming up? And there are some particular new energies that are coming in with the seasons, with the cycles, and with this particular year that are giving us some extra power in this process. And your guides are there and ready to help you. It's like ask them for help, tell them to guide you in this unfolding, and like what am I creating right now? What am I embodying? What is leaving, transforming? What am I welcoming in? What am I offering my light, my vibration, my multidimensional self in service to? How much access do I have to my multidimensional self? And your guides, like, just start talking to them, just start dreaming with them. They'll help guide you. I mean, they already are, but the more that you open yourself to them, it's kind of like you'll be able to hear them more, is how that works. Um, but part of the importance for this is it's very tempting right now to start to dream up futures that might feel hopeless, scary, um, yeah, fearful, maybe unjust. You know, there's a fine balance with this because we're not going into a place of spiritual bypassing in our creation of the future, and we're not going into a place of um, feeding all of our energy to the future, a fearful future that we don't want. So we want to be contributing to the collective and envisioning unity. Dream it up. And again, it doesn't have to be in the physical actions. We're starting with our energy. You can start doing visualizations. Just imagine the energies of unity and love and peace. Because the more of us that do this, it sounds, it can sound to part of our human minds like that's no good. It doesn't do anything. And maybe alone it's not enough. But it is a very important piece of the creation puzzle. So if we want to create a future that is better, if we all come together and we dream together of something better, we call upon, we invoke our own light to start, we embody our own light to start, we call upon light for the planet, we envision it around humanity, we don't let ourselves fall into those trap doors that are saying how terrible things are, or how terrible this person is, or um, this situation is. We might see it for what it is, like, there's not a lot of love in that situation, and that a lot of harm is being caused. And what can I do, though, to actually contribute to more love? And then it's like from that place, the next step, which is starting to form in February, some of us may have like concrete ideas of the actions that we want to create, but the next steps is getting clear on different steps to take or not to take. Sometimes it's like an action in itself, not to take action on some things or not to react. Um, but think first again about coming into your vibration and how much you can actually affect from your vibration and your frequency. That's where the focus is right now for this month. Um, okay, so yeah, let's get into the shedding piece. So as we complete the year of the snake, we still have this kind of last opportunity for just like the final slothing off of anything else that we don't need. And for most of us, we've probably been made aware of whatever needs to be shed, released, and just like blessed and let go. Um, but if you don't, you could spend some time getting clarity around that. And typically, you can look in the places that are causing you struggle, suffering, or causing others struggle and suffering, things that just like don't seem to be working. There might be something to release and let go there. And again, I'm getting brought back to like the ways of the goddess, the ways of Sophia, where it's like we're not necessarily saying, okay, I need to let go of this pattern that I have. Check it off the list, do this like practical thing to let it go. Like, yeah, that's good. But the emphasis this month seems to be on energy. It's like looking at our energy system, and maybe part of the reason is because we don't know, we can't actually access with our mind all of the things that we need to let go. We can maybe access some of those things, but if we stay in the realm of the mind to find everything that needs to be shed, we might miss some things. Where if we go into our psychic senses, if we go into embodiment and sensation and feeling our body and our energy and noticing where we might be holding things, where what burdens or energetics are stuck in there that we don't need anymore. So there is an opportunity with the energies that are alive right now to release, to let go. Kind of that last, like, what else? And you can even do a visualization where you just ball up all the energy you need to release together, just have it like magnetize into a ball, and then just let it all go together and bless it as it goes. If you want a little ritual for it. If you want some more details, reach out. But I'm sure you could probably come up with some of your own things to add to personalize that. Um, So, yeah, I want to go back to this reckoning of the past and the future. um, the visual that I got is like these kind of two pillars, and we have the past over here, and it's like a continuum. Have you ever seen like a color gradient if you're creating something in like a computer application or some kind of tool like Canva or Paint, or I don't know. I don't even know if Paint exists anymore, but but if you use a gradient of one color and another, so we have like one color as the past and one color as the future, it's not just like a block. This is the past and this is the future. All of the past starts to wane and shed. And so we're at this point where there's still some like color of the past in between our pillars, and it's not as much as it was a month ago or 2 months ago, but there's still some there. And it's not this kind of clean cut, oh, we're done with the past. I'm done with all those things I needed to shed. It's over. And sometimes, because we don't recognize that that's how the processes of transformation, the cycles kind of work here, and how they work with like working with Sophia and working with the goddess, we might think that like, oh, come on, I'm not over that. I've been working on that forever. Or um, when it comes up at the next turn of the cycle, we might have that feeling. Um, But then what tends to happen if we get a little bit too stuck in that feeling is it like solidifies instead of releases. So we bring this up so you can understand it's like, no, it's like all is well. I'm just in this cycle, and whatever else needs to be shed, it will be shed because I trust the wisdom of my own unfolding. It's working perfectly. It's totally fine. um, so we're also not in a place where it's like gung-ho action for the future and planting seeds, and we're still in between. It's forming, it's building. And what does it need where we are right now in the cycle, and where you are right now in your cycle, your personal cycles of life? So we want to kind of like integrate the seasonal, the earth Gaian cycles, the humanities cycles, with our own. It's like they all kind of get woven together, and we're the one who sits in our own seat, who knows how to best work with those and how to best work with the light that we get to weave with them. Um, so, what this shedding, this last shed, is giving us is more freedom. And this is a traditional energetic of the horse medicine, and horse wisdom is freedom. But this word I kept hearing again and again, it's like shed for freedom. And we're shedding so that we can create a different reality. We're not holding on to things that are stagnant, that are dead, and we can create new timelines, um, without ignorance, but instead with our light, with consciousness, the enlightenment. It's with the light of our consciousness. That's what we want to create from. And again, focusing on the vibration. And as we make room, let go, we're walking into that future. Um, so there was this particular message too. There's like a lot of focus when I was hearing the word dead. It was coming up when I first heard it. It was actually in this beautiful little poem, which unfortunately I didn't write down. I hear a lot just like drops in these cool poems, and they're always freaking amazing because I'm just like blown away by them. Like, wow, first of all, that's true. Second of all, like, how did you get that to rhyme? And it just kind of like the way the words are woven, it just like transforms and heals just to receive them, just to read them. Um, but anyway, rabbit hole, tangent. Um, there was an emphasis on dead with shed. And this was talking about, again, as I just mentioned, is like not holding on to things that have died, that just like their time has come. It was like time's up, not holding on to, and this can be on so many different layers. It could be like actual things in our lives, or this could be actual people, that we've had relationships with who have passed, or um, just like the relationship died, or the person. This could be ways of being, different kind of emotional or mental patterns. This could be our old visions, maybe last year's visions and dreams that it's like maybe they didn't quite come to fruition the way that we thought. And then we're still hanging on to that, even though it's kind of like this, it doesn't have that life in it anymore. And we need to breathe new life and let it be transformed, and trust that whatever beauty, whatever was real about this dream, about this, whatever it was that is no longer, whatever was there, it can't go away, because true love, truth, the real energy of the divine is eternal. So even though we go through these cycles where we're transformed, we don't have to be afraid of, the letting go, of the shedding, of the death. Um, and meet it for the kind of sacred and profound experience that it is, including the profound things it can bring up, such as like grief or fear or all sorts of things. If we don't tend to whatever comes up with it, then it's like we can thwart the process. So that again, it's like not bypassing, it's being fully alive in it and trusting that it's leading you where you need to go. Um, okay. So, with the word dead coming up too, there was also mention of freeing ancestral karma. And as I understand it, in my work with mediumship, those that have crossed over, they receive like instant healing and instant upliftment. And they're truly held. These are my beliefs. I don't think everyone has that belief. So I don't necessarily believe that our ancestors need healing per se. However, they are working with and responsible for the frequency that they left here on Earth. And when they're our ancestors, that is us. We are, their frequency. So it's like they want to stay close and they want to help us. And if they've left anything that is challenging for us, it's their greatest wish that we will find a way to heal or remember, become whole again, and find and embody that wholeness and then shift that frequency here on Earth. So exciting. February has an extra opening for us to do this work. And it doesn't have to be arduous, was what I was hearing, which I think the card said that too, something about actually this transformation, this change can be easeful. And I think that's true when it comes to this ancestral work. Um, there's also, it's like this potential for stubborn energies, stubborn imprints, whether it's from those who have passed or just from like patterns of the living or etc. Stubborn energies are going to have a little bit more like lubrication to transform. Um, and your consciousness around this can invite that to different areas in your life. And if you don't know where to start, it's really just coming back to your heart, coming back to that light within and asking those questions of how can I be in my truest frequency right now? And sending love to yourself to start. And then that starts to emanate outwards and that starts to just slowly unwind some of these locked, stubborn patterns. Okay. All right. Seeing if there's anything else for. Uh-huh. Okay, and with some of this movement that's happening of the stubborn energy and moving forward into like the freedom, um, and being in this transitional between the transitional pillars of the goddess, if you look at a lot of, not all of, but many of the high priestess cards in the tarot, you'll see that she's sitting between two pillars. So there is this kind of wisdom of like entering into the dark, and sometimes she's blindfolded because she is in relationship with Sophia, who this is part of her wisdom of knowing how to go into the dark and find the light within. And so it's like you step through this threshold of change, the pillars of change of the goddess, um, for, like evolution, enlightenment on the spiral of enlightenment. Okay. What was I think I was going to say something else that connected to those, but oh well, hopefully it will come back if it needs to. Um, So yeah, let's talk about kind of what we're walking into a little bit. And this is like, remember, it's a gradient. So there's some of this energy, but it's like not all of our focus. And we don't need to kind of go like I don't know the word I'm thinking, it was like gung ho on action and intentions and planting seeds and forwarding a little, but it's more so just like leaning into ourselves, feeling kind of like relaxed and juicy and full of our light and open, and letting our frequency start to inform us about how to move. And that's how we start to dream. That's how we start to vision. And as we're shedding these things that we no longer need, and as we are leaning into this creative visioning of Sophia, we are able to create different realities, different timelines, as I was saying, through our energy. And I kept hearing rewrite the script, and surprising ways to step into our power. So this is like starting to form. It's not just in February, it's also in March. And as we come into the spring and as we step further into the year of the fire horse, these are some of the energies that are available to us that we get to co-create with and to work with and to enlighten with and evolve with. And yeah, just start to look. It's like what's there for me to unfold, to create with, and what's my relationship with my own power, power and strength. Some of those themes were coming up, and I could see how that makes sense with the fire horse energy coming in, and spring awakening, and in bulk in February. Um, Oh, I just remembered what I wanted to say a minute ago when I was talking about the pillars. So there was a suggestion, I can say it really quick and then jump back. Um, there was a suggestion about kind of like a spiritual ritual or something just to honor what has passed with peace, with compassion, forgiveness, whatever brings those, and gratitude, whatever brings those qualities up for you, those feelings up, that state of being is kind of like to come into that and maybe do like a little anointing ritual with yourself. Get some high quality oil and just like anoint your third eye and your heart and just say, thank you so much for what the year of the snake has brought forward for me. I am willing to step forward in this beautiful moment of transition between January and February, between the year of the snake and the year of the horse, and between whatever else you're in between in your life. Um, so, yeah, if that feels exciting to you, maybe try it out. And as I said before, too, if you need any help or guidance in that, you can always reach out. Okay, now bobbing back over. um, so with horse and this building energy that's in February, just really we're starting to feel it now. We're starting to have a bit more access to it. There's things that could come up around your relationship with your own power and your own freedom, because there's an awakening of this energy in the collective that's happening. And one of the base wisdoms that I want to share with you that I was being reminded of is like, where does true power come from? Um, and although you can answer that question for yourself, I was hearing a few things that I want to share with you. I was hearing about it coming through our kind of courage, or us having the heart to transform, because in that we are like aware of our own eternity, aware of our light, and we are not afraid to go through the waves of the world. And we're not afraid to create a positive future, regardless of what we see, because we know our light is eternal, and we trust the dance, and we trust our relationship with it. We trust our own unfolding. So it's like when we are aligned to that, when we are in a place where we're coming from, our love, our truth, our compassion, our wisdom, our caring, this is like the true power that actually allows us to have oomph in rewriting the script with the collective for the future. So, in all of this, there might be new ways where it's like you have access to power that you just didn't realize before. And there was a message coming in as well about like there could be some light brought onto situations for yourself or with others where you thought you were in your divine power, but actually it was more egoic, or you thought someone else was in their divine power, but it was more egoic. And this isn't something to like feel shame over or shame someone else over, but just to be aware of, like, okay, we can be grateful for that clarity, that insight that is just like continually revealing itself to us. And we can be the ones who choose to say, I'm not going to get stuck in the illusion that I don't have an ego, or that I've arrived, I'm fully evolved, I don't need to think about it anymore. I'm going to allow myself to keep going through the cycles while I'm here, while I'm alive, and trust where I am in my own life journey. And um, yeah, okay. So yeah, I would wonder like what is going to come up for us, and what does that mean for the collective as well? Because the sense that I got was the energy that's available to us, depending on how we all decide to use it, this starts to affect our world. We can change things. Like maybe one of the things I was hearing is like the thing that they say that Yeshua, Jesus said, where it's like the last shall be first and the first shall be last. It's hearing that in relationship to this message around our power and our strength and true power. And we can start to shift the energetic of like the power over or feeling victimized, or it's like regardless of what happens down here on this earth plane in this journey, our light is untouchable, and we can choose to vision a future of love. We can choose to embody truth. We can choose to embody love deeper and deeper and deeper every day. Not because we aren't already perfect, but because like it's the beautiful journey of it. That's what we signed up for. Okay. Okay. So I guess I'll say this one first. So there was this message that was coming through as well, to start to look at the difference between flow and like divine flow, and currents from patterns that are dead or outworn. So this touches a little bit on some of the things that we've talked about, but uh, some more of a new angle to kind of hone in on, where in my life did maybe I think I was just going with divine flow, but actually I was kind of stuck in a pattern or the current of a pattern. And like, what's the sensational feeling difference of the two? And along with this, it's like those of you who are on my newsletter, you might have seen this email I sent out recently. I'm holding bear ceremony on the 28th. If you're local, you should join us. Reach out, I'll tell you more. But bear is a beautiful medicine that teaches us about many things, but one of those things is wholesome rest and reflection and right relationship with the dream time and the unconscious. And our ceremony will be kind of opening up together to steward bear's medicine and what it has for humanity on Earth right now. But part of what I was sharing in the newsletter is kind of like when we might go into the unconscious in a way that is like not in relationship. So we might be like tuning out, scrolling, or just doing something that is like we know is not wholesome for us, but in that moment because of whatever, it's like we're doing it. And um, I feel that it's like, yeah, part of this message is understanding the difference between stagnation in accessing those like inner realms and the unconscious and dream time, and just like it's okay to tune out, but it's if we're doing it in a way that isn't wholesome, then it's actually maybe not okay, or it's not the best for us, or it's just not the best for us anymore. This isn't even necessarily about like particular things like scrolling. It's like it's always bad. Maybe there's a place where it could be okay, but we always have to be showing up to like really listen, feeling in the moment, um, so that we're not just like yeah, like collapsing into the unconsciousness and staying there and becoming a hermit and we don't want to go out anymore. And um, that if we feel the inclination to do that, then it might be beneficial to look at like why, like when were we not getting enough rest and we needed it, and how can I allow myself that now without going into places of stagnation or just things that actually like um, kink up my energy rather than allow me to feel just full and great and access the deep wisdom that the dark and the dream and the unconscious want to fill me up with. Um, so yeah, it's like looking at some of those dynamics was coming forward and that kind of discernment of when we need to allow ourselves to emerge and when we're ready. It's like more about timing than it is about valuing one over the other. Um, okay. So last thing here is just kind of a quick message. Uh, it was really funny. It came in just two words, and it was dirty mind, but maybe not in the way that many of us might traditionally think of that. It was being presented as there like a physical level and an energetic level. So physically in our brains and in our nervous system, and energetically in the mental field of humanity in particular. How there's kind of like some dirt and gunk in there that needs to be cleared out. And some of this, um, yeah, is showing up like it could be like plastic particles in our brain or metals, or I'm not sure exactly, but there's like contaminants or things that are like getting a little stuck in there that are affecting us and our clarity. Um, Maybe even certain like minerals or yeah, I don't know. Excuse me. But what was coming through was that there's this kind of like opening where folks might be having like bright ideas on how to clean up the mind, the mental field, the actual brain and our nervous system. Like there's wisdom that is just like it's surging through folks on the planet, and there's like a uptick of it in February. And maybe it's you, maybe something's supposed to come through you, or maybe it's just like a way of working with the nervous system and like upholding that, reminding people of how important it is, or I think it could come through in many ways, but there is like an opening of an energetic of how to work with that so we don't feel like afflicted in the mental field quite as much, or overwhelmed, or anxious, or forgetful. And along with this, there was like a little reminder of like true remembrance, how it doesn't happen in the mind. So even if we're forgetting things, we can never lose our heart. We can never lose the eternity of our light and our soul, our love and our truth, even when we're having trouble like connecting the dots, like regulating ourself or like actual memory. So real remembrance happens in another place. And I feel like this was said to kind of ease fear that folks might have about, like getting Alzheimer's um, or just like the various things that we have to deal with that might cause overwhelm and anxiety in our world. Because when we get afraid of that, or when we see it happening, we're like, oh no. Then our frequency, it's almost like it amps it up more, you know? So there's like a new way to work with this that's being made available to us. And yeah, for, I just want to say, like, mushrooms. There's so many beautiful healing mushrooms, ones that are like specific for the nervous system and the brain too, like lion's mane, but there are others. They support those connections that happen in the brain and in the nervous system. And um, yeah, I could share a lot more about that, but I won't go off too much further and just kind of leave that with you as a potential working with them or even the spirit of them to understand, what it is that we need to integrate in our frequency for humanity and what's your part, of that, the whole that we need to integrate into humanity that maybe mushrooms know they understand about the nervous system and about connection that we're still working on as a human culture. Um, yeah, so with that, we're gonna close. That was it for today. I want to thank you so much for listening. Um, I'm wishing you just blessings, light, access to your light in the month of February. Happy shedding, and sending my love and peace to all that is being released and reminding you that you're okay if you're in the middle of the pillars, in the middle of any transformation, 1 foot here, 1 foot there. It's okay. That's a natural space to be in. Um, Another thing I want to share, if you're local, have a dream medicine course that's starting up. The first one will be on February 22nd. And if you're not local, I also have a dream medicine course that's an evergreen online course, and you can see about all of those on my website. But would love to have you join. It's a really, I think, potent time to be studying dreams, not only this time of year. You probably heard me say dream space so many times today, but also this time in history. I can't tell you. I mean, since I work with dreams so much, a lot of folks will just like gravitate towards me because that's known. But I believe I've seen an increase, even factoring that in the strength of what's coming through to people in their dreams. And dream time is like making itself known that it has deep wisdom, medicine, and power in it, and it wants us to work with it. So I think it's potent for that reason, because there's an awakening happening there, and potent because of the time of year. Um, there's just a bit more comfort to be in those dream spaces when we're in winter. Um, yeah, so I hope you'll join us. Reach out if you have any questions, details. Thank you so much to the people who have reached out in the past couple of months to share how Oracle Report has landed with them. It's always really awesome to hear that. And I thank you and welcome you to share more if you'd like. So blessings to you in February. Take care. See you next month.